Welcome, Squires. Welcome to another episode of the Game Nights here. We got another episode of the Locals Legend, and we have ourselves Bailey, a.k.a. Jawa. How's it going today, buddy?
It's going good. 4-0, baby.
Let's go. Let's go. What did you play today, man?
I was playing Maliss.
Oh,
pure Maliss.
Okay, pure Maliss. Very nice, very nice. Okay, what were your matchups today?
My matchups today, first game I played against Ancient Gear.
Okay.
My second game I played against Stun.
Stun, okay.
Yeah, and then third game was against Paleo.
Oh, Paleo. Okay, yep.
And then my last game was against Pump.
Okay,
Pump
interesting.
Pump with he had the sarcophagus stuff.
Gotcha. Okay, no Ryziel today. Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
I sided entirely for Ryziel.
Yeah, I guess you just dodged him today, buddy. I guess you just dodged him today. Do you have any shout-outs that you want to give before you get into the deck profile?
Just the Wizards Loft.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Just the boys.
Sweet. Alrighty, man. Let's get off into the list here.
Yep.
Show the spice.
So, not a ton of spice for my my names. So I'm running 3 of each.
Okay.
Which the 3 of each, a lot of people will cut down to 2 or 1 of the Cheshire Cat. I don't really get it.
I think Chessie Cats.
They're right that this is the best 1-card starter and this is the second best 1-card starter.
Yep.
But if you have more than 1 Maliss card, this is usually the best starter. Like, you usually want to start Chessie Cat because you just banish and then you get 2 no matter what. You don't have to do any link shenanigans, there's no choke points, and it keeps you lower under nib. So I like that. So I'm running 3. Only thing to say about them.
Yep.
They're all great monsters. Then I'm running, obviously, 3 the field spell. It's also a 1-card starter in an emergency.
Okay.
There were 2 games today where this was my only starter. Still won. It happens. It's still, you can make it happen with this.
Yep, and you found the ratio of 3 was probably the best ratio?
Yeah, in fact, we should actually be playing a ratio of 4.
Oh,
so
okay,
I played
there you go.
terraforming for it.
Nice.
This deck just lacks starters. It's the only bad thing about it, so you really want to have starters.
Yep.
Here's the traps. I ran 1 of each. I could see the argument for running 2 of this one maybe, or even 2 of this one.
Yep.
The traps are really good. This is super good in the grind game, even though it's the worst of the 3. It also comes up every once in a while. The fact that these 2 let you dodge on the first turn, and you can set stuff like your terraformings or your allures or your signets to dodge, just puts so much more mind games into this deck. It makes it really hard to hand trap. Dodges Veiler, dodges Infirm, because you can set the trap, activate this. If they chain, you flip the trap, do the thing, banish it, then you get it back. So it's really deadly, and your opponent kind of just has to accept that if that happens, they blank the trap for no reason.
Pretty much,
Hand trap.
Yep.
I'm also playing the 2 extenders. I like Code of Soul. Code of Soul won me a game today. I made terahertz on someone's turn with Code of Soul.
Very nice.
So even though I couldn't make it there with my end board, it let me use my interruptions that were already there. And then I Code of Soul later for more interruptions. I think he's really good, especially since I'm not playing IP in my extra. So he gives me an IP effect for other reasons. Dotscaper is just a must play in this deck. He's just super good. You can banish him off of the red ransom is the main way that you use him. A lot of people complain about if you draw him, but you do have a lot of ways to get rid of him. He's a little bit better if you're playing a variant with Signet Mining because you can discard him. I'm not today, but I drew him for 1 game and it wasn't a big deal. We still made it work. I normal summoned him on turn 3, and he works there because he essentially works for 2 summons.
Gotcha. Okay.
Next up, I ran 3 Allure. I think Allure is better than Signet if you're playing Shifter in the main.
Yep.
You Allure under it. Allure is a 2-card starter. So if you ever have any of the Maliss monsters in hand, Allure is your starter.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. At worst, you get ashed on the Allure and you still get the banish. Not terrible. Goldsark is just another monster name, essentially.
Yep. Goldsark is Goldsark.
Goldsark is insane in this. This is a deck that I think you main Thrust. Thrust is crazy.
Interesting. Okay.
Thrust, if nothing else, will set you 1 of the traps, which is pretty crazy.
Yep.
Setting 1 of the traps is just always helpful for follow-up, especially you can get this one. But also, even if you just get this one as a bonus, because of the banish effect, it just adds an extra interruption to your field. There's another reason why I'm maining it too. I'll go over that in a minute when I get there. We're doing 3 Bestials, 1 of each.
Okay.
I could see the argument to run more Druids. These guys are insane. They help me all day. Every time you draw them, you're in love. They are fantastic in this deck. They do everything for you, and they let you play through everything. The nice thing is that even if you get stopped on your 1-card combo, if you have a Bestial in hand, you're fine and you play through.
Yep.
It just lets you do anything.
I think the 1-1-1 ratio is fair.
Solid.
Yeah, it's solid.
I've seen some Japanese lists that even run Saronir.
Oh, interesting.
So,
okay.
You know, I don't think having a lot of Bestial names would be bad. I would consider moving it up.
Yep.
I main 3 Shifter. This is in our non-engine now. Everything up till here is either be non-engine or like supplemental stuff.
Okay.
So non-engine, we have 3 Shifter. I'm maining Shifter. It's just too good. People say it doesn't hit Reiziel, but like it does.
It kind of
does.
It kind of does. Yeah.
If you pair it with other stuff, it can be really annoying for them. And it's really good against everything else in the format except this and Ritual Beast.
Yes.
Ritual Beast wins the mirror in game 1 if you shifter them, so it's blind. Next we have 3 Ash.
Yep.
I'm running 3 Ash because it actually does a good job into Reiziel. It stops them from getting to the 3-part board, which is like really important. This and Nib are the best ways to stop Reiziel from getting to that board specifically. So just seeing the threat of that even helps a lot.
Yep.
Otherwise you just struggle into Reiziel.
Yep.
I'm running 3 Mourner. I like
Okay.
the Effect Negation in this format. Effect Negation, if they're not going hard for the 3 board, is the best thing into Reiziel. It also hits this deck in the mirror really well. And then, like, Effect Negation hits just about every deck in the game pretty well.
Absolutely, it does.
You're missing out on trap decks. Even into trap decks against Labyrinth, it's pretty good. Then I'm running 3 Imperms in the main. Same deal as Mourner.
Yep.
And I'm not running Veiler because you can't Veiler under Shifter. So it makes more sense to run Mourner. A lot of people I've seen say, like, DB Grinder says that, like, Mourner's cope, but I just think he's wrong about that. I agree with, like, the Lucas Sacco list for this.
Yep.
I think that the plus of it is really nice. It also helps you with time, because this deck does have a little bit of problems in time. You can fix it with the Reborn trap, but, like, that being said, you still have problems with life points.
Yep.
And it helps you clean up with damage on the board. So
Okay.
this deck already has good damage, and
True.
that just helps even more.
Yep, that's true.
Last is I mained 1 D-Barrier.
Okay, and I'm assuming, yeah, that's
I
for
was
the
doing
thrust.
this already, but then I saw the pack deck list for the striker build that he's doing, and so you thrust for this, and I agree completely with the logic. This deck is super, people love hand trapping it, and it plays through hand trap, so why not just run thrust instead of something like crossout?
Absolutely.
And, you know, running 1 D-Barrier in the main. It hits every deck in the format except this deck right now.
Yeah.
There's not another Link deck that is really super duper relevant that I have to worry about.
Yep.
For Extra is the MVP. He's the main combo line off of Dormouse. You like him a lot. The other 2 main combo lines, you're going to see this guy in the main combo line a lot, and you're going to see Splash Mage a lot. Splash Mage, the Cyberse lock is not terrible to play around in this deck. The only thing that it ever locks you out is out of the Bestials. You have to make sure that you do your Bestial plays before you Splash Mage. And then it's some of the stuff in the extra deck. There's just a couple cards like Haggard. You always do Haggard before Splash Mage, of course, when you're going lines for it. The other card that really it matters for is for SP. SP being a warrior is the particular thing that hurts. You can't make this after you Splash Mage, but usually if you're making an SP on a turn, you're making it before Splash Mage anyways because your play's been stopped.
Yep.
So SP is your emergency end board. For engine, we're playing 1 of each. All of these are super good. This one is the worst to play. Like, you don't ever end on this really. It's just around. But these 2 are amazing. The Shuffleback 3 effect came up a lot today. Like in the Paleo matchup, this was very strong. And even against Punk, this was super good. Punk with the Reborn off of the Deerno.
Yep.
This helped a lot. There's Reiziel, this hits as well. You can shuffle back the Xyz before they use it. And then this one is obviously insane. The non-targeting banish on this is absurd, and the fact that they can't respond to it while points the monsters.
Yeah, that part is also very absurd.
And like in general, I found like because you're bringing stuff back with for your end board a lot of the time with the Reborn trap, reborning this, and then banishing 3, you can often set this up so that it's pointing at the Dormouse or at the Cheshi. And the Chessie protects it from battle destruction, which is really nice.
Okay.
And then also it's at 5,000, so there's like kind of no way to out it even under like a Psychic End Punisher. And then White Rabbit. White Rabbit's pretty good too. White Rabbit's the no battle damage.
Yeah, that's right.
Just kind of nice. I tended to put this one against these, so that when they swung over this, I wouldn't take damage.
Okay.
But the big one is Dormouse. If you can get something to point to a Dormouse, Dormouse just helps a ton. It makes you a lot less vulnerable to anything but Nib. To be fair, I did not get Nib today, which is probably why I won.
Yeah. If you dodge the nib,
If you dodge the nib, you kind of win with this
that's
deck.
pretty good. Yep,
So,
that's pretty good.
Is how it is. Next to my extra, we have these two. I made
the
this guy
firewalls.
along
Yep.
for follow-up today, but unless you're going uninterrupted, it's kind of hard to make it into this line. Usually you're ending different. Firewall, just him being a link 4 and the add back are super nice. The add back, when he's co-linked, is just really helpful. The special summon, when you link something away that's touching him, is nice. It helps to extend sometimes, especially when you add back those cards that you had because of the co-link. Terahertz, of course, is really good. Terahertz won me probably 2 games today. It won me my last game against Punk, and it won me one of the games against the Paleo player. And I think it won one of the Ancient Gear games too. It's nice. I think that ending on it as an end board can be a bit of a pipe dream. People over-focus on that. You should make it when you can make it.
Yeah.
Next, access code. Access code is super good in here because if you're going second especially, or even on third for follow-up, you can banish your Maliss names with it to get its attack gain as well as to do the pops. And it just, free pops, free stuff.
Yep.
Just, easy.
Mucho damage.
Kills, mucho damage if you need him. To be fair, I linked him away after to just make a
Oh
Terahertz
my
anyways.
goodness. I mean, hey, Terahertz is good.
This card is the goo. If you're trying to play
this
low,
is some spice.
Yeah, low under nib. This is insane. This is what Japan is doing. In Japan, they play this with Linkuribo, but I had the read that no one would be unevenly today, so I didn't run Linkuribo to run something else.
Gotcha.
I ran the Link Spider today. I might take it out. I don't think nib is as much of a problem as people think. I kind of agree with the Jeff Jones deck list where he said that he'd rather have Almirage. Almirage is really nice. Alternatively, I would run the Linkuribo. Linkuribo is also really nice.
True.
So that's an option. Then I ran these two. These are the sends off of Terahertz.
That makes sense.
I considered bringing Crackbit today, but I decided against it because I like the negate a little bit better because I already have enough removal. This is insane when you can get it set up. It comes up. This is also insane when you can get it, but you have to get to Terahertz. So it's a lot invested in the Terahertz package. It is 4 slots of your extra.
That is true, yeah.
The big spice that I brought today was the card that I brought, and I brought this card because this deck has problems when it can only make a link 2, as well as for like something else to do with my side. I opted to not run Almirage, which is pretty good. I opted to not run Packbit, which is really good, and I opted not to run the Linkuribo in favor of Codebreaker Virus Swordsman.
Oh, really? Okay.
So Codebreaker Virus Swordsman is weird, but it's because of his attack. He's the only Link 2 monster with 2300 attack, which matters a lot because he's a Dark. He's the only Dark Link 2 with 2300. So he's the highest attack Dark Link monster other than one of the Gold Pride monsters, which you can't make in this. And this works with any effect monsters, so you can make it with even the Bestials.
Okay.
So the cool thing is that this is the game plan going first after post-siding. And he's also pretty good going second post-siding into turn 3.
Gotcha.
If you get interrupted on a weird end board.
Yep.
I'll explain it more in my side.
Yeah.
I ran one Gamciel because I had the space, and I didn't know what else to run.
Okay.
So this is a thrust deck. So in the thrust deck, I was running the more copies of Barrier, obviously.
Makes sense.
That's mostly prep for Ryziel. It's also prep for Ritual Beast or White Forest, I guess. I'm scared of those decks a little. The other deck is the Mirror. So I ran the Sanctum, plus the 3 Lancia.
Okay.
Thrust for the Sanctum if I needed to.
Yep.
Really good. Lancia's insane in this format. It hits 2 decks that are relevant, so I don't see why you're not running it in the side. I ran 3 Droplet. I think Droplet is good into Ryziel, and it's generally good into everything, so it's just a pretty safe thing to run. This deck draws you so many cards that it doesn't really matter about the card advantage you're throwing away from this, and you could use it going first just as well as you use it going second. Even the combat trick element of it is pretty good, so that's pretty good. I also ran Book of Eclipse.
Oh, how'd the Eclipse do for you today? I know a lot of people are running Eclipse now.
I didn't side it in against anyone but the Ancient Gear player, and it was really good against the Ancient Gear player.
Okay.
If I'd been against the Ryziel, this would have come in. This card's just kind of nice, especially in this deck, because it lets you make sure your effects go off through negation. So it's a way to do it other than with the set trap or the bluffing, trying to bluff through.
Yep.
The big spice here is the last 2, and this is what I'm kind of the most proud of in this deck.
Okay, you're running some virus cards.
Irad and Deck Devi.
Okay.
So the big problem with this deck is that it actually has a pretty bad matchup into stun, I think, which sounds crazy. But like stun decks or like low to the ground decks like a Kashtira with like strong control cards or a runic deck,
Yep.
if you don't draw shifter against like the runic deck or you're against like stun, this deck kind of struggles. So Erad is really good into any like trap or spell deck. So if you're against Lab, this is super good. If you're against like against the Paleo player, if I'd been able to resolve this, I almost did. It would have just been game over on the spot. You make the Maliss monster to banish.
Yep.
You do a banish if you want. If you don't need to, it doesn't matter. You just immediately activate Virus, and then Virus can win you the game.
Yep.
So it's really good. Even good going second, technically. And then Deck Devi. Deck Devi is pretty absurd because you can make Deck Devi and you can send off the Codebreaker Virus Swordsman. So this is the emergency game plan against Ryziel when you draw a copy of Thrust.
Okay.
If you draw a Thrust, any one starter can get you into Codebreaker Virus Swordsman.
Got you.
Even if they interrupt you, as long as you have some way to extend, which
Yep.
you always do. So you make this, then you set this, and it turn skips them.
Wow.
So you turn skip because they only have access to one monster, and everything else gets owned, so they just can't do anything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid.
That's super spicy. I like it, man.
The
I
one
like it.
thing I'm kind of considered was instead of Eclipse, you could run Waking the Dragon, which sounds really weird in this deck, but it's something I played with a lot, and it's not bad if anyone wants to try it. Like, it's just interesting. This is like literally the last thing. You run the traps, and so you do that set bluff. And so when you're going second, you side in Waking the Dragon, and then you can just Waking the Dragon out any target from your extra.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that's just like an option if someone's looking for some spice. It could really surprise your locals one week just for fun.
Absolutely, it
and
can,
after you do
yeah.
that one time, they're never gonna blow up your back row again. So,
Yeah,
you
they're probably
don't have to do it that often.
yeah, they're gonna hold those
Spice.
lightning storms and feather dusters.
Yeah, they're not gonna cycle in that.
No, definitely not.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I like this list a lot. This deck is really good. I think this deck might be the best deck post any sort of support. I think with what we have in the TCG, Ryziel has a little bit more problems than Maliss does.
I agree.
Maliss has a lot of cards that hate on it, but like they're a very few number.
Yep.
You can play through it. Ryziel's hate cards are really bad.
Yeah,
So
I
I think
agree.
like there's a pro and con to both, and it depends. I think Ryziel's probably more consistent, but this deck is really good.
Yes.
Anyways, thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much, Jawa, again. Congratulations again on the first place, buddy, and I'm sure we'll probably see you again on the channel, my guy. Alrighty, buddy. Till next time, my guy.